This cat, every video we've seen has been deep. Now, I'm not saying that everyone will be, but we have had to put in some brain power to figure out what Stromae was. Stromae is trying to say with his videos. So I don't know what this one's going to look like. It could just be a fun little, he's skipping through the forest and there's not much to it. I highly doubt that. This is called L'Enfer.
Je suis pas tout seul à être tout seul, ça fait déjà ça de moins dans la tête. Et si je comptais combien on est? Beaucoup, tout ce à quoi j'ai déjà pensé, dire que plein d'autres y ont déjà pensé. Mais malgré tout, je me sens tout seul. Du coup, j'ai parfois eu des pensées suicidaires et j'en suis peu fier. On croit parfois que c'est la seule manière de les faire taire. Ces pensées qui me font vivre un enfer. Ces pensées qui me font vivre un enfer. Est-ce qu'il y a que moi qui ai la télé et la chaîne culpabilité? Mais faut bien se changer les idées. Pas trop quand même, sinon ça repart vite dans la tête. Et c'est trop tard pour que ça s'arrête. C'est là que j'aimerais tout oublier. Du coup, j'ai parfois eu des pensées suicidaires et j'en suis peu fier. On croit parfois que c'est la seule manière de les faire taire. Ces pensées qui me font vivre un enfer. Ces pensées qui me font vivre un enfer. J'ai mûrement réfléchi et je sais vraiment pas quoi faire de toi. Justement réfléchir, c'est bien le problème avec toi. Tu sais, j'ai mûrement réfléchi et je sais vraiment pas quoi faire de toi. Justement réfléchir, c'est bien le problème avec toi.
Awesome. Do you see what I mean? That right there was a one shot. One shot, full circle. And I can imagine that some people would watch that, would listen to me watch this, whatever I just said, and be like, how can you praise a video like this? It's literally just a guy sitting on a box on a white wall. Yeah, but what he's doing and the reason that it works is the genius behind it. Now, I have my thoughts. Before I do that, I want to read the lyrics, okay? All right, I'm going to leave that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull up a specific shot. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to do my best to read this. Okay. And I know that lyrics were on the video. I like to read it all in one run so you get the feel of it better. I'm not alone being alone. At least that's less in my head. And I counted how many of us there are. A lot. Everything that I already thought about. Saying that lots of others have already thought about it. But despite everything I feel all alone. So sometimes I have suicidal thoughts. And I'm not proud of that. You think sometimes it's the only way to shut them up. These thoughts that make us live in hell. Am I the only one who has the TV and the guilt channel? But you have to take your mind off of it. But not too much. Otherwise, it starts again quickly in your head. And it's too late to make it stop. And that's where I'd like to forget everything. So, I've thought about it long and hard, and I really don't know what to do with you. Just think about it. That's the precise problem with you. I've thought about it long and hard, and I just don't know what to do with you. Just think about it. That is the precise problem with you. I'm not alone being alone. So here's what I think is wicked interesting. When we kick things off, obviously we know that we come full circle. That's a nice touch. The fact that we go from this starting shot all the way through the video, through this getting smaller and smaller, getting further away, going through the tantrums and the chaos to somebody that on the outside looks like they have it together. But ultimately, we realize that it is damn it. It is the battle that is being fought inside, which is why it's so brilliant that when we get off of this final shot, we come right back to here for two reasons. One, it's happening inside. Two, it's a cycle and it repeats itself. That's friggin' brilliant. So I love the fact that there's timing that's becomes a character in this. That's important. There's also perception that becomes a character. Now, somebody said it, and I was going to comment on it. You just beat me to it. The initial vocals that you hear that have that dissonance, that is foreshadowing in the best way. Now, before we get to the dissonance, this is probably just a me thing, but that type of vocal, I associate, right or wrong, I associate that with like tribal history. That feels tribal to me. It feels very primal. And that to me feels relevant here too, because people say, we have that lizard brain. We have that primal brain that's encoded at us. We are this many thousands of years old, but as modern and technologically savvy as we are now, except for grandma with the damn iPad and remote control, like we have that primal brain. So we get that first feel in my opinion, of that primal sound. But then you get this twist where it gets sour. Yes. And you notice that when all of that is happening, his eye is closed. That's what's happening inside. All of that. So now we get to see what he looks like from the outside. We have a little bit of information on what's happening on the inside, but now we get to see the outside.
Je suis pas tout seul à être tout seul, ça fait déjà ça de moins dans la tête. Et si je comptais combien on est?
The noise, yeah.
Beaucoup, tout ce à quoi j'ai déjà pensé, dire que plein d'autres y ont déjà pensé, mais malgré tout, je me sens tout seul. Du coup,
love it.
J'ai parfois eu des pensées sur...
Now, here's something I want to say. The fact that, like, I understand the idea of, like, and I know why it happens, but, like, we got away, and it's still kind of there, and I think it's slowly beginning to kind of shift a little bit, but we got away from saying the word suicide at all, and it became, like, unaliving or unsubscribing from life. I mean, I was guilty of it, too, because on the level of, like, you don't want to set somebody off. You don't want to upset them if they feel like they're in that boat. But at the same time, if we don't acknowledge and discuss things like this that are difficult, to me, that thing has more power the quieter you are about it. There's a mystery to it that becomes even stronger and more powerful when, in my opinion, putting a friggin' light on it and discussing it takes away a lot of its power. So when he discusses this, and he just says it very matter of fact, it's not dramatic, it's not a big deal, he's not looking for attention. I mean, I know it's a music video, I got it. But for him to just say, you know what, sometimes I've had suicidal thoughts and I'm not proud of it. Okay, that's it. And it's just, boom, this is a piece that's on the table. And the way that he presents it, I mean, I know he's kind of outwardly processing in a way, but the way that he puts that piece on the table, it almost has the same weight as him saying, I feel lonely. I have a lot of noise in my head. He's trying to put all the pieces together. He's just putting it out there. Yeah. And yeah, Han, that's kind of what I was referring to. A lot of people started changing the language because of the censoring on the internet with like platforms like YouTube and TikTok. So they started changing it so it wasn't as censored. And again, like I say, I know why it happened. I think it does more, me personally, I think it does more harm than good. I think the best thing we can do is have the actual conversations about it and then help lead people to either platforms or services that actually help them.
Suicidaire, j'en suis peu fier. On croit parfois que c'est la seule manière de les faire taire. Ces pensées qui me font vivre un enfer. Ces pensées qui me font vivre un enfer.
See, this right here, this is what I'm talking about. There's timing pieces, and one is it's kind of sped up in this next part, but we watch him go from somebody who seems very chill, kind of neutral, and then he starts to crack, and we get that view of what's kind of actually happening with him emotionally. There's a crack in the armor.
Ils me font vivre un enfer. Ces pensées qui me font vivre un enfer.
End of Act 1. We've already seen two sides. We've seen the calm, cool, and collected put together side, and we've seen the chaos that happens, right? It's like Now when he shifts and the lighting changes, we're down into the next act. It's gonna change in some way.
Est-ce qu'il y a que moi qui ai la télé et la chaîne culpabilité? Mais faut
so
bien
good.
changer les idées. Pas trop quand même, sinon ça repart vite dans
That little wah is just like a tick. You notice most of the time he's got it together, or he appears to. We get enough of this information to understand what's going on, and maybe it seems like he's got it together. He really doesn't, because we know what's happening internally. But I like the way that he portrays this to being, one, there we get flashes of it, and I think that's very accurate. We get flashes of it. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's more chaotic. Him doing things like this artistically and openly like this, in my opinion, help the rest of us make sense out of these things. We see patterns. When he describes, whether it's depression or suicidal thoughts or whatever, most of us will probably see some level of relatability in something he's demonstrating. And that in and of itself is helpful to us, because we say, I've gone through that. I know what that feels like. And in some way on the back burner of your brain, you're thinking, yes, I've been through that, which also leads to, maybe I'm going through that right now, which also might lead to, I'm probably going to go through it again. But you got through this one, and you got through this one, and then whew, it's part of the cycle, understanding that life is friggin' hard sometimes, and that you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have days where life just sucks, and you're going to have months where it just sucks, and you're going to have years where it just sucks. It's a cycle sometimes. We don't know when it's going to end. We'd hope it ends. And kind of our job for ourselves is to do the best we can with what we've got. Now, it's easy to say that. It's harder to apply. But, perspective is a big thing. And doing your best to, make sense of the position that you're in, to try to do the best you can with what you've got, that really is kind of the broad strokes of life for everybody. Regardless of where you started, where you ended, every single one of us in our own way is doing the best we can with what we've got. That's it. That's all of us. Sometimes it's harder for some, it's easier for some. Sometimes that flips. Some people get a more of a rough go than some others. There's nothing we can do about that. We just support each other. We do the best we can. Every day is another opportunity. I mean, yeah.
la tête, et c'est trop tard pour que ça s'arrête. C'est là que j'aimerais tout oublier. Du coup, j'ai parfois eu des pensées suicidaires, j'en suis peu fier.
Do you see how his body language kind of shifts here when he says this line? He kind of puts his head down, and you see his shoulders kind of drop, and he actually portrays that level of shame. I've had these thoughts, and I'm not proud of it.
On croit parfois que c'est la seule manière de les faire taire. Ces pensées qui me font vivre un enfer. Ces pensées qui me font vivre un enfer.
Once again, timing becomes a character. It's not sped up, it's slowed down. Now, you see how different and severe that one was to the last one we saw, where he's sitting on the box and he gets the little quick flash of it, which was shorter than the first one we saw. So there's different levels of severity that he's demonstrating here.
Tu sais, j'ai mûrement réfléchi et je sais vraiment pas quoi faire de toi. Justement, réfléchir, c'est bien le problème avec toi. Tu sais, j'ai mûrement réfléchi et je sais vraiment pas quoi faire de toi. Justement, réfléchir.
And these lines of, I really don't know what to do with you or about you, right or wrong, I feel like he's just talking to himself. It's the voice in his head. It's like he knows and he's trying to encourage himself, but he's also beating himself up. It's like the same voice is actually multiple voices, not in like a DID kind of way, but in like a, sometimes you're your own worst enemy. And that voice is just constantly like, sometimes it encourages you. Sometimes it inspires you. Sometimes it beats the shit out of you. And you just can't seem to turn it off. So when he's saying, I don't know what to do with you, is how I interpret it, out of frustration, he's really talking to himself and not somebody that he's talking to, as if they put him in this situation.
C'est bien le problème avec toi.
Now, this could be a bit of a stretch, but I even think this haymaker of a punch means something.
C'est bien le problème avec toi.
Right there. That to me feels like it's artistically saying this is the monster that's extremely difficult to fight. Because you can't punch him in the face. You can't swing a sword at him. It's the monster it's hard to get away from. That brain emotional fight, because it's internal, is way more difficult than fighting a threat that you can see. It takes that much more effort and emotional awareness and strength. It's possible. It's just harder. So him swinging wildly at the air, it feels like it's out of frustration. And he's just trying to do something. Exactly. Swinging at a shadow. Yep. But it's internal. So the fight becomes different. And when we end this way, not only do we come full circle back through the eyeball, but the fact that he's that much smaller, and he initially started talking about being alone and feeling alone. We have all this empty space around him, and he's just swinging wildly into the air. And we get those voices that we got in the beginning. Awesome. Every single thing I've seen from him has been Chief's kiss. That's fantastic. That to me is why art, when done in ways like this, can be so important and so valuable, because they can spark conversation. We can make sense out of things. Even if we get it wrong, we're all just trying to make sense out of it, you know? Yeah. I loved that. I absolutely loved that. He is very quickly becoming a fan favorite for me.